Have you noticed that at this point there's pretty much like this online culture when it comes to data backups? I find it very weird that something so small and in large scale things I always thought irrelevant, that it would have such a large amount of almost like fanatical people that are part of it. So I decided to dig a bit deeper in it to present to you my very first episode of my new series, Unpopular Opinions, where I go and challenge some of the taboos and best practices of the computer world. Today, of course, we're talking about data backups, something that so many people say you should do, and so many people say that you should just go all out, you know, several backups at home, several backups not at home, several backups in the cloud, several backups everywhere, just in case. Do you really need that? That is the question I wanted to find out. So I started asking people online what they think about data backups. Do they do it? How much they do it? Why they do it? And do they maybe know exactly what are the odds of something happening to your data? And well, the results are kind of interesting. I've posted these in public online forums, and the majority of people that answered are all really pro backup, some being really pro backup. However, not all. Others were saying that you should have a backup, but not everyone was really extreme in opinions like that. There were some people that were saying that you definitely should have a backup, but were saying that the standard 3-2-1 methodology that most people use is kind of overkill unless you're like a big business or something. So I was definitely glad to see that. Let's look at just normal failures. Something going wrong with the hardware that's no one's fault but the PCs or the hard drive or the SATA cable in between them or whatever else. Thankfully, there's a really good site online for checking all of that, and that's called Backblaze. They do reports for every single quarter of each year on how likely the most popular drive models are to fail. Right now, the annualized failure rate for 2019 stands at 1.8% of all drives. So, not really likely. But like many people will point out, that's not the only thing that can make your data disappear. And that's where we get into some rather weird examples people have gave me, such as your precious hard drives, SSD, whatever else being stolen. And that one I don't really get. Like, if your house getting robbed is a real danger in your neighborhood, then doesn't it make more sense to invest into making your house more secure? Like, it's 2019, nowadays you can pretty much pull a 1984 on any potential burglar. Wouldn't that be a much better investment, since then you're protecting everything inside your house and not just your data? Another one people point out a lot are house fires. Again, not the most common of occurrences, being roughly 1 in 3,000 in the US and going down as things are made more safer. But again, if it is a potential danger, isn't it better to, again, protect your whole house instead of just your data? But what if you're still worried about your data going? Well, I have just a solution for you, sir or madam, and that is what I like to call unintentional backups. Basically, that's any action that results in a backup being done when you really didn't intend to. It's just like a side product of your action. And you probably have done them a lot, and I've even done them a lot. And those are actually the only backups I have, because I don't really backup my data, because like I'm trying to say, there doesn't really seem to be much of a need to. So here's a few examples. Are you someone who needs to access a certain group of files a lot? You know, you need to access them on your phone, on your laptop, on your home computer, on your work computer. You need to access them from other places because they're something to do with work or just some kind of project of yours. Well, then you're most likely going to move it to some kind of cloud storage. Most likely something like Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox or something like that. Well, then, well done, you've just unintentionally backed up your data. Even though it wasn't your main intention to, you have a copy of it now on your main PC or wherever else it originates from, and now also in the cloud. So if something goes wrong, it's always there waiting on the cloud for you. I'm also a photographer in my spare time. I love taking photos, and I like to think that I take some really decent ones. So after each photo shoot, or even after just sessions like these when I record videos, I naturally have to move it to my PC so I can actually do something with it. But I also often need them on my SD card as well, mainly because I often look back at my files just to see what I did in a certain place, so I know how to repeat it. I also transfer it from my camera's SD card sometimes. Thankfully, the SD cards I use for recording and taking photos are kind of big, so I can allow myself to not delete the photos and videos off the SD card. So what I do whenever I drag the file across my PC, instead of moving them, I simply copy them. So there's 2 copies available if something were to happen. Also, as you may have seen in my big investment video, I recently got this, my brand new NVMe SSD. This thing is really awesome, and since it's so fast, I decided to move all my channel files to this drive from the hard drive they're originally on, so they're all much faster access. So I went to my hard drive and I copied it across to my NVMe, because moving or copying items in Windows can be unreliable way more often than hard drives or SSDs being unreliable. So I copied it across, just in case anything goes wrong in the upload, I could simply just start again. And it also saved me the headache of, say, only certain files could copy over and not the others, trying to figure out what's there, what's not. I can just once again just copy it all over again. Am I saying you shouldn't back up your data though? Well, no, the chances are just so small, and there's so many other things that could happen to us in real life that have similar chances and can have way more dire consequences that we just don't prepare for. It always seems a bit weird to me how much people stress backing up data. If you really want to back up your data, go for it, and there are definitely instances where it is recommended. There are some examples that people gave me that are kind of ridiculous to many people, but for others it could be a real possibility. So just natural disasters. It just sounds like some kind of weird conspiracy theory and worst case scenario, but some people, that could be a real possibility. Say if they live in a place with some really active tectonic plates like Japan or California, or if they live in some country with a active volcano, like some example of a country with an active volcano. But let's talk about RAID, which is also an extremely controversial topic in the backup culture. The main one, of course, concerning RAID 1 and whether or not it is a backup. If you're unaware of what RAID 1 is, it's essentially mirroring the drive. So all the data that gets written to one drive also gets written to the second drive. So if something were to happen to one of them, the data is all there ready for you on the other drive. And to me, that just sounds like the very definition of a backup. But many people claim that it isn't. Well, in fact, it is a form of backup, and it is a decent one. It's definitely better than nothing, so it always confused me why people yell at people that have no other form of backup apart from RAID 1, because it is still protecting them. It's not like they're completely unprotected from data loss. RAID 1 is also additionally good when dealing with RAID 0, so striped drives. The main argument against RAID 1 as a form of backup is that both the drives can go. And let's just say if the chances of a single drive going are so small, then imagine what the chances are for two drives going and losing all of that data. But now let's talk about one of the main points everyone says, and that is that drives are 100% guaranteed to fail. Well, yes, that is true. All drives will fail. But these people seem to be forgetting one thing, and that is that technology develops. If you had a computer back when IDE drives were a thing, then you've probably at some point, in order to migrate to a much newer system, you probably moved that data from your IDE drive to maybe a SATA drive. You got your old, potentially dying in a few years drives and got all the data on a new drive. A few years pass and all of a sudden SSDs are becoming a thing. So you may take that data and put it on the SSD instead, a new and much more reliable form of storage, and since it's a completely new drive, then that's going to last you a few years. People switch out the drives they use already, not for backup's sake, not for the sake of the drive potentially dying, but because technology develops. In a few years time, when it's almost time for my drives to go, I'll probably have already moved them over to whatever technology comes next, because technology continues to move. And that is something I really understand why people don't see. People already switch out the drives, and people have been doing that for years, and will for years to come as storage technology continues to improve. So unless you're someone who just never upgrades their storage and you're still going to be in 20 years time stuck on old SATA drives or even IDE drives, well, I don't know what to tell you apart from that you're probably missing out on some awesome storage technology that's about to come, and that your data is way more likely to be lost. So I would definitely recommend a backup for you at that point, or just upgrade to some newer storage technology. But let me know what you think of all of this down in the comments below. Those are some of my thoughts on, you know, this whole backup culture and why you should or shouldn't back up your data. Again, if you feel like you need to, you probably should. But just remember what I said in this video. Number 1, the chances are extremely low. I'm not saying that will never happen, because there's a chance that they could happen to you, and in that case, well, that's kind of bad. But sometimes backups, especially for people who have lots of data to back up, can be really expensive. Number 2, look at what's a reliable backup and what's not, because there's a lot of information going around in the backup community saying how online storage is extremely unreliable because you know, the company could go under in any second. Yeah, no. Unless it's just some like completely no-name, really small company, which, why are you trusting them with the data anyway? Then you shouldn't worry about it. If you're sticking with your normal options of Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive, then you just don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Number 3. Unintentional backups exist. And what's great about them is that they tend to back up your most important files. For example, files you need to use a lot being backed up on the cloud. Number 4. RAID 1 is a form of backup. Not sure why so many people say otherwise. But anyway, let me know what you think all of this down in the comments below. I'm definitely interested in seeing what you guys think. And tell me how much of an awful person I am for making this video down in the comments below as well. Also, maybe suggest some more things I could talk about in my new Unpopular Opinions series. I definitely want to make more of them. Also, big thanks to my patron Barriel. Thank you ever so much for pledging to the channel. And if you want to support the channel so I can make even better content, even more interesting content, and even better quality content, I highly recommend checking out my Patreon. It's down in the description below, and even $1 a month goes a long way in making my videos so much better for you guys. So thank you so much in advance. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in the next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye.